Dropping gems from Keisha Christian. She's on a mission, sharing information, knowledge for soul, body and mind. Dropping gems, KeishaGems.com. KeishaGems.com.
Welcome to Just Dropping Gemz, proud partner of Rude Rangers Unite Entertainment. We can now be found on Roku and on the Rude Rangers app. Be sure to download the app on your iOS or Android devices. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Just Dropping Gemz. Tonight, or I should say today, this evening, whenever you're watching this, we have on Daniel Wolf, and I'm so excited. He's actually one of the stars with me, along with me on Rude Rangers TV. He's on Rude Rangers TV with me, and I'm excited to have one of my fellow stars on this network. He is also the owner of Stitching Wolf Arts and Design, and as you see, he has his he has Kiaya on his lap. If you're wondering why he's holding a stuffed animal, it's the personality behind his company. So welcome, Daniel. Welcome to my show today. Thank you for being
here. It's great to be here, Keisha. Thank you for having us.
Oh, that's beautiful. So I want to know what actually got you into this line of business. I know that we have something in common. We're both educators. And what made you want to, well, I know you're still working as an educator, but what made you want to go into having this sort of business?
No, that's a great question. So I'm starting my 18th year in the Department of Education in the city. But I've always been a creative person. I've never considered myself an academic, which I guess since I'm in academia, that may be a not a great thing to admit. But I'm
no different. I understand.
I've always relied on my creativity to get me through some of the academic stuff that I do. And I've been a visual person. So when I was in high school, I really got into art history. And I myself as an artist, ironically, until the stitching came in, never really classified myself as much. I could take you to the Metropolitan Museum, MoMA, Whitney, and I can give you I can walk you through and give you a tour and give you all the history of everything there.
Oh, nice.
But I never actually have classified myself as an artist because I can't draw. I can't really paint. But it wasn't until, and ironically, it took something personal to get me into this. And she's now my wife, but at the point when we were dating, my wife was doing a lot of cross stitching and crocheting, and she tried to get me into it, and I really wasn't. It wasn't my thing initially, and then about 2 weeks or so before we got married, and about 10 years ago, my grandmother, who was really the light of my life and really the guiding force for me, became very, very ill. And she passed away not long after our wedding, and she wasn't able to be there. But I really believe, kindredly, she stayed around just to see us together, because she died not long after the last time my wife and I had seen her after that. And I needed something. It hit me hard. I needed something to really occupy my time and to give me some focus. And my wife really helped me sit down and said, "We're going to try this." And it just sort of stuck. And the first one I did, which actually is hanging in my kitchen here, in my home studio, is very rudimentary, and it's one of the kits that you get like at Michael's or AC Moore. But it's very rudimentary and it's falling apart, and you can really see how it's a beginner thing. But as you know, over the last 10 years, it's really become my way and my journey to get through the way that I live my life and the way that I focus myself. And it's been that journey line for me throughout all aspects of what I do.
Nice. And I have to tell you, everyone, he has some really great artwork. And I even like your play on words. When I look at some of your posts on Facebook, I was like, oh, I love it. Even the sale you put up, instead of saying Cyber Monday, you put Cyber Wolf. So I really love your play on words. So I must say, I love it.
No, I play upon the fact that I have that unique last name that really just ties into everything.
Okay.
And you can't, it's something that's an attention grabber. But we really do have something for everyone. There really isn't, and I have a real, and my mission is to, I get such joy from doing it. And if I had more wall space at home, I would continue to do it for myself, but I don't. So I really, I want to bring the same joy to others with what I create, with what I, with how I do it. That's my ultimate goal in my within my journey line with this part of my life.
Nice. So, where do you draw your ideas from or your inspiration from to create these cross-stitching designs? Because I know I noticed that a lot of them they look original. So, where are you drawing inspiration from?
Well, there's a lot of I started with what was available to me, and then I sort of tapped into what people's interests are. A lot of what we have now, I've sort of gleaned from what I've seen on, I follow social media, and I really follow what other people within my craft and my trade are doing and what is out there. So when I think about like the home goods collection that I have on my store, things that are useful, that are economical, that are cheap, that people need, that are aesthetically pleasing. I do a lot that sort of taps into reality and who people are. So when the other stuff I've really been working on over the last several weeks has been our collection of ornaments as we get into the holiday season, and the different types of people who are out there. Not just the happy and the romantic people, but the people who also have been slighted and are not with their significant others. So we've developed these different collections of things. So I've sort of tapped into people's interests to different levels, and Kiaya would certainly tell you the sarcasm and the wit that he and I have. We certainly have tapped into what we call our gray label collection, which is our sort of naughty, if you will, collection of things that tap into the youth as well as the classic as well. When it comes to what people want, we really look at what they want, and I really go into this work by thinking that, and our company slogan is that the possibilities are endless, and we really look at what people want, and we will work within those parameters to create something that's for them. No is never really an option, and I can't do that isn't an option, but we will work with them to create something that matches their vision as close as possible when you're working in the geometric situation, when you're working with squares. That's the challenging part for people, and people always realize, because cross-stitching is working within square blocks, that you're not going to get perfect round shapes and things like that. It's working within those geometric patterns. But again, it's what the client wants, and we work with them throughout the entire process.
Oh,
I don't just say I'll take your money and I'll do it, and I won't show you what I'm doing until it's done. There's a process in which we go through, and the client, from the preliminary pattern to the end, is completely ingrained in that methodology for me.
Wow. So on average, how long does it take you to actually complete a cross stitching? Does it have to do with the size of the actual I'm not sure what it's called, the canvas?
Yep, you got it.
Okay, so is it the size of the canvas that determines how long it takes?
I mean, it's the size, it's the number of colors, it's the it's the intricacies that are included within. So, for example, I give you two examples. There was one pattern I had done for a client, and one commission I had done for a client about a year ago for her 10th wedding anniversary, and it was my wife and I dyed the canvas because she's a big fan of Disney's Haunted Mansion. Wasn't my thing, but again, I go with what the client wants. So I researched and I found something to work with, but she wanted the wallpaper of these ghosts and goblins that are part of that wallpaper motif that's in Haunted Mansion. But we couldn't find a purple fabric that was close enough and a canvas that was close enough to what they wanted. So we ended up dyeing it ourselves.
Okay.
And we did the whole process, but it was only, it's an intricate pattern, but it was only the purple it ended up being the purple canvas and one color, and it was all black. That and when I think about pricing, I don't think about the actual the actual materials that come up with it. It's the time that goes into it. So it took I would say it took us about a month and a half to 2 months to put all the pieces of that together. And the one thing that I also offer is if a client doesn't want to frame it themselves, I will arrange to have a framer take care of that as well and add that into the cost.
Okay.
And I've really researched, framers and companies who will do a good job with doing that. But again, working with the clients within the parameters of what they want and the simplicity that goes along with the design, because I know that some people, when they want these things, they don't want the added pressure of them going and having it framed.
Yeah.
They want the actual thing. So that takes time, and so that's an example of what takes longer. And that, I think, finished, it was maybe 20 inches tall by 10 or 15 inches wide. Within the frame. So it's a very large, that was a large, and actually one of the larger ones that I've done for commission. But if you take, like, for example, the ornaments that we have that were offered in the various collections that we have, those take on average between 2 to 4 hours each to do. So it really depends on the intricacy, the size, the colors. I did one, I was hired to do to create a pattern and a work based on a Bitmoji of someone. It was the first time I ever did it, and it ended up being like, I think it was like 80 or 85 different colors that went into it. And that takes time. And you don't know until you do it for the first time, but I realized that took me more time than I ever imagined possible. But it was really, but again, it really goes with the intricacy. So it's not about the materials. It's about the time and the care that goes into it. Because for me, it's about the history that goes along with it.
Oh, nice. This episode is sponsored by #Puromance by Venice. Venice Richards, your Puromance consultant, inspires women to enhance their intimate lives and take care of their sexual health. Book your party today. Info in the show notes or description box below if you are watching this on YouTube. As far as you're able to do all sorts of design, just about anything anyone could imagine. What are some collections? Because you did mention that. What are some collections you have? While you were talking, you talked about the different sizes of canvases. So what are some of the different sizes and shapes that you might offer?
I mean, I go along with the idea that the possibilities are endless. When it comes to certain things, and I've branched out and I've started to think outside of the box when it comes to what people want. I do a lot with framing within the embroidery hoops, the round hoops that you could buy at a Michael's or an AC Moore or Joann's, and I do it within that. So, for example, our ornament collections, and there's 5 or 6 different collections within our Decking the Halls collection. And those are basically, with the exception of our pillow ornaments that are about 3 to 4 inches high and about 1.5 to 2 inches wide.
Oh, so you actually crochet on pillows as well?
I start with the canvas, and then I will put a piece of fabric behind, and I'll invert it just like you would make a pillow. So again, it's all hand stitched. Nothing that we do. Everything that Kiaya and I do here is all handmade. So it's not like going to the mall and going to one of those embroidery kiosks that are in the in the mall, and you put it into a machine and it goes in. everything is handcrafted.
Nice.
Nothing is machine done. Everything is done to specification, and for what people want. So if there's something that's special that someone wants, again, I'm not adverse to listening and to hearing out and then working with people to make it become their reality, because for me, this ended up my reality. I didn't realize it 10 years ago when this all came down the pike for me, but this really became how I release that energy and I get through good times, sad times, tough times, bad times, everything in between. So that's but everything, there's love. That's every stitch.
Yeah.
Even though what may come out of our mouths as we go through it is not always loving, and we go back and correct mistakes, there's a bit of love in every stitch that goes on.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not, and I'm not adverse to trying things. So everything, there isn't a shape when it comes to framing, unfortunately, unless it's a higher end type of a thing. There's very, it's basically square with what, if you were to go to a Michael's, for example, for framing, you're working within, you could do something different with the matting, but you can't do something with the framing.
Yeah.
Depending on what a client wants, I could then step out of the box and go a bit further with regards to shapes of frames, but again, it becomes a different cost point. I try to make it, it's art, and art is expensive, and art is something, for at least for me, I've always seen it. My mother was a needle pointer when she was younger and in good health.
Oh, it's in your bloodline.
So she would do the needle point with the pattern that was, and for a lot of the stuff that she did when she started was, she had in Manhattan, there was a shop where they would paint classic art and other patterns onto canvas directly, and then you would match the colors that the artist would use. So the pattern behind was original, based on classic works of art. So, for example, I have a Cezanne still life that my mother had needle pointed, that my grandmother had in her home, that I inherited when my grandmother had passed. But behind it, I know there's the canvas itself is an original painting based on this Cezanne still life. And the fact that it was needle pointed by my mother and stitched by her makes it, for me, an added, has an added value. So it's the original art from the person who did that
who made it originally. Mm-hmm.
Right. Plus what my mother did. So, for me, it's also that family connection.
Yeah.
That really makes it valuable, and something, I've done a lot of pieces for folks who wanted stuff for their grandchildren's bedrooms and their children's bedrooms with their names and different character motifs and animal motifs to match, what interests are. Those are the things that get passed down generation to generation,
mm-hmm.
that become those living history things. And for me, as a historian, as a history person, and as a history teacher or a former history teacher, those are the things that speak to me, because it becomes that living history for people.
Yes.
That sort of has that, wow, this is something that was made for me, given to me, that I'm going to carry with me.
Yes, and pass on.
Right. And that's what I'm trying. What I try to pass on through the work that we do here. It's a very it's almost Zen-like in the way that I think about it. It's very, everything that I do for people, it's the love and the passion for what they have for it as well. It's not just about me,
mm-hmm.
but it's about what they want to give people as well.
Oh, that's beautiful. You said something that's resonating in my mind right now. You actually used your pain and you transmuted it into something loving and healing.
Yes.
So and then you even talked about, like, with your wife, how she actually sat down with you. So what I'm thinking now, is there anything else that you, because you're doing all these different types of work, is there anything else that you want to go into now with your company? or evolve into something else?
I mean, we're dabbling. I mean, we're still relatively new. We're about a year and a half in.
Oh, okay.
We launched I think we launched our Facebook page in May of 2018.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's when we started. We really started to put some thought into what we were doing, starting very small scale. I've started to think more outside of the box with things. And I spoke earlier about like the different types of like home good type things. So I've sort of tapped into things that I have that are original in creation, that can be multi-purposed. So, so for example, on our website, we have our bling collection where I've taken some original pieces of art and I've turned them into pieces of jewelry. So you can buy the original art in a bangle bracelet or a pair of earrings or cufflinks for the gentleman or tie clips for gentlemen. So those things that are interesting, and then again working within parameters. So if I had a client who wanted something for a friend for Christmas, and I actually started this last spring, and she bought the original art that I worked to create based off of a pattern, but she also wanted earrings created.
Oh,
So
okay.
we took that and I made it into a pair of teardrop earrings that she's giving to her friends. So she's getting the artwork as well because she paid for the time that it went into creating it, and she's getting the earrings to give as a gift. So it's sort of a dual thing.
Nice.
But again, it's original, and it's the time that goes into it that is, and what meant something for her. And she said, "Wow, you could really see the detail and the time it went into it. Like, this is that she's going to cherish. That's what I want. I want it to be that unique thing that someone, wow, this was done for me."
Nice.
So we've tapped into that. So I do that. I've taken a lot of some of my original art and I've made it into acrylic clocks as well.
Okay.
So you can actually get Kiyaya's likeness, which is available on our website.
So it's not
in profile.
So I don't mean to cut you off, but it's not just cross stitching you're doing.
Well, I'm taking it. I'm putting into other products that may hook into folks.
Okay.
So I've sort of looked at what people have bought. I've done a lot of time looking at what craft shows do and what things, and I've done a lot of trial and error over the last couple of years that I've been doing this. And I think about what's popular. So. And I've done different types of venues. I did the wine festival up in the Hudson Valley this past September, and based on what people purchased and what conversations I had with folks as they went by, I sort of gleaned what they had. I know, at different price points of what is available. So, so when I think about things, what someone will buy, like our ornaments are relatively low in cost. Our ornaments run anywhere between $10 and $25 based on personalization. And if someone wants something personalized and something designed specifically within what we have, that's the higher end. But the stuff that we have that's general is all $10 or lower. So we also have Kiyaya has a collection that's called the color collection, where it's the embroidery floss that we use to stitch things filled in ornaments. Those are $8.
Okay.
So we try to base what different ranges of audiences have, because it is art, and art does cost.
Yeah. So
And for me,
it's demographic.
That's right. The demographic and what different people have depending on who an event caters to, and the time of year. I was able to do more in September when people are buying wine at a wine festival than necessarily I could do it, at one of the holiday shows, at a school vendor show or something similar to that around the Christmas season, where everyone is laying out all their cash for all the Christmas gifts and stuff that comes along with that. So that comes into play, but I also work with people because I'm also a humanitarian. When it comes to this, because I'm also someone who believes art is meant for the people.
Yes, yes.
So I'm willing to negotiate and to work with something within the parameters of what a person wants. And for me, I always start on the higher end. And I think about this. I always think about what I want, as an educator, what I want for children.
Mm-hmm.
So when I think about what I do on a day-to-day basis, as a director for a program within the city schools, I always think about, what do I want? What is the biggest vision I have? And I start large, and then I start parsing it down.
Yeah.
And that's what I do with my clients as well, because I want to tell them, basically give them an idea of what they have is worth and what is possible. Sort of like if you ever watch HGTV and you watch the Property Brothers, and they take, they want to sell you on the house that they can rebuild and they can gut and do all that stuff with, and they crush all these people's dreams when they show them the multi-million-dollar homes. That's sort of the premise that I take, with the art that I create too, because there's something for everyone, and I will make it work for whatever the parameters are. I don't want to be the person who turns somebody away.
Yeah, so you work with everyone's budget, basically. So whatever your budget is, you work with
their budget, their interests, their parameters, and and because art is meant to be enjoyed.
Exactly, I agree with you. I have a question. So where did Kiaya come from?
Well, Kiaya actually came about. And I have a friend who's been mentoring me through my journey with this, and who's been supporting me throughout. And that of course is our mutual friend, Rudy from Rude Rangers TV.
Yes.
We have been. He's seen me through the beginning, from the early on aspect of what I was doing. And I actually found him through the vendors page, one of the Long Island vendors pages, and he was looking for someone for his. I think I was on that with you actually last.
Yes,
December.
that's where we met.
And it sort of became a situation where he sort of guided me through. He saw the potential in what I had to offer,
mm-hmm.
and he sort of reined me in a little bit. And I sat with him one day, not long after that December television show, and he said, you need a hook. You need something that's going to bring them in with a personality. Of course, he said, not of course, that doesn't mean that I don't have a personality.
Yeah.
But something to match my product line.
Yeah.
You should have a mascot, and a wolf would be perfect because you're stitching wolf. And he said, and you should name the mascot. He said, do you have an animal or a stuffed animal that's a wolf at home? And actually, Kiaya comes from the Build-A-Bear WWF fundraisers a number of years ago.
Okay.
And the proceeds to build him went to go to wildlife support. And when we created him, he said, you have to do a contest. So I opened this up on social media, and Kiaya actually comes from the Cherokee word howling wolf.
Mm.
And if you open this up, it ended up being international through social media, but the contest was only open to residents of the continental U.S. And it was a gentleman who lived in upstate New York who came up and volunteered Kiaya as an option, and it seemed very fitting. Because it's not up on the web on the homepage currently, because we've been promoting all the holiday stuff, but until recently I have a cross stitch that I have of a wolf howling. Mm-hmm. So and that was sort of where he came up with this idea, because when I was launching this, that was the image that was out there on everything that I had. My buddy here has become the face of it. But behind it is that particular cross stitch, and it sort of came from there. So he's sort of become the inspiration behind it all, and it becomes a face value. He travels with me, so we'll be at an event in Westbury this weekend. He'll be there. Everyone loves to pet him and come by and visit him, and he'll be in he'll dress up in different occasions. So today now he's wearing his official Stitching Wolf Kiaya swag, but he'll wear different things for the different seasons. When it comes to baseball season, he's got a Mets uniform, he's got a Yankees uniform. He's a New Yorker. root for everybody. But, he's got a personality, and he comes out, and it brings people in. And that, it's something that people can relate to, and it's fun. And that's
what I was thinking. It's fun. You have him there, and it's fun. I love it. Well, Daniel, thank you so much for coming on this episode of Just Dropping Gemz. And I want to know, I always ask my guests, do you have any final words or thoughts you would like to leave with the audience?
Absolutely. And first of all, thank you for having both Kiaya and myself here. He's awfully quiet tonight. He's normally more talkative, but he's a little bit more with the live broadcast. He's a little bit more shy than he normally is. But, honestly, follow your dreams. And follow your heart, and let your heart and your dreams guide you. And I believe in motivation and wisdom. And every Monday and Wednesday, I do Motivation Mondays on my social media and Wisdom Wednesdays on my social media. Mm-hmm. And I always try to impart some bit of wisdom. And I think that really you need to the possibilities are always endless, and you can't let. And there's a lot going on in the world that we're in. And you can't let that become a deterrent. You have to be you, and you have to follow what you believe and what you love.
Yes.
And for me, it follows both of my paths, both as an educator, which I've loved doing for almost the last 20 years, and I'll do, up until retirement and thereafter. And my art, the art was the unrealized dream. That I can create something and be that creative piece, but also, make it something that is tangible. I found that later on in my life, but don't take, and I guess it was, I forget the poet, Robert Frost, don't take the road less taken.
Yes.
But really take, whatever journey line you're on, go with it. Dreams can become reality. Possibilities are always endless, which are the two things that we thrive on here, and the stuff that I believe in. And that's the one thing I want people to walk away with. Follow your heart, follow your passions, follow your dreams, because that's what's going to guide you through what you do in everything, whether it's career, hobby, anything. That's the stuff that gets you through.
Exactly. You really need to make time for those things that you love. It doesn't have to be really your career path or your job, but if you find something you love and you're able to take that energy, it could become very healing. And it's not only just for you, but for the world.
It's very holistic. It's very like you said, it's healing, and it's human.
Yeah.
And we joke. My wife and I joke around, and all of our friends who are crafters and artists also, crafting is cheaper than therapy. Yes, you struggle with stuff, but it's very therapeutic.
Yes.
You find something that you love, and that becomes the guiding force in what you do.
Yeah.
And that's what my art becomes for me. It's a journey. It's a meditative process. It's a maze. It's a labyrinth. There's no easy solution,
mm-hmm.
but it's something that you work through as a process. So the one thing that people have to realize, that you need something that isn't your career, because at the end of the day, it's your career, but for some people, it's just a job.
Yes.
What are you doing for you?
Exactly.
And for me, and for my friend here, it's the art that gets us through. That's what, through any type of, sad, happy, mad, those are the, it's the art that personally gets me through and helps me cope. And everyone needs something, and that's what I'm about, and what people need to, especially with what our world is right now.
Yes.
We need joy, we need hope, we need love, we need those inspirational things, and tap into those things, because there's so much upset and anger and hatred that's out there now in our world. This is what we need.
Yes, we definitely do need it.
Would the weather keep you from going outside today? Don't suffer from annoying allergy symptoms. Claim your free gift. www.keishagems.com/courses. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. Dropping Gemz Academy is offering certifications that can allow you to turn your investment into a certified holistic practice. Use this introduction course as an all-natural alternative seasonal year-long allergy treatment option. Empowered with knowledge, you can help me spread awareness with the rest of the world. Driven by a passion for holistic studies, Dr. Keisha Christian has listened to your requests and expanded the techniques shared in her acclaimed resource guide, Holistic Gemz, How to Treat Seasonal and Year-Long Allergies Naturally, into a full online course. The second installment in her published Dropping Gemz series has inspired parents, teachers, naturalists, the therapists to reassess the way they handle seasonal allergy symptoms. Now this course will help you do the same. Sign up to get your free gift. The first 10 registrants get 50% off using the code DroppingGemz50 at checkout.
Well, Daniel, thank you so much for coming on and taking time out of your schedule.
Oh, it's our pleasure. Thank you for having me and my friend.
Yeah, I forgot to say it. Thank you.
That's okay. He's very happy to join us, and we hope to join you again soon.
Yes.
But thank you for having us. It's great to do this with you tonight.
All right, then. Have a wonderful evening, day, morning, night, whenever you're watching this or listening to this. And everyone, thank you so much for listening to Just Dropping Gemz. Peace and blessings to you. Much abundance. Thank you so much for listening to Just Dropping Gemz. Proud partner of Rude Rangers United Entertainment. We can be found on Roku and on the Rude Rangers app, which can be downloaded on your iOS or Android devices. This episode has been sponsored by Dropping Gemz Publishing and Dropping Gemz Academy. Be sure to visit our website where we offer holistic solutions with the soul in mind. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at droppinggemz.com. If you are interested in being a sponsor or advertising on this show, you can contact us at KeishaChristian.com or email us at KeishaGemz@gmail.com. Much abundance to you. Peace and blessings.